Hey folks, I'm gonna show you a quick little how-to here on what this little piece of veneer is doing in your kit. So it's because we have a new neck supplier that's supplying these pre-made necks, just because we don't have time to make the neck from scratch for this build. And you may have noticed, if you tried to put those together, that there is quite a gap around that, and that's not ideal. Now this is optional. You don't have to do this. The screws are plenty strong, and you probably wouldn't notice a difference in tone, but I'm going to show you. I don't think this will be too difficult, and you can do it yourself. So you will need a sharp pencil, and I would center the neck in the pocket, and I am just going to, with my sharp pencil, I'm just going to outline where that neck, and I won't be able to get all the way under the fingerboard, but that's okay. Alright, so again, this is optional, but I recommend it because it's not that difficult to do. Okay, so this is one of the tools you'll need for sure. This is a single-edged razor blade, and I highly recommend just buy like a pack of 100 at your local hardware store or on Amazon. They are immensely useful, and a 100 pack will last you several years, but if you like to make anything, you will definitely use them. Alright, so can you see my pencil line there, hopefully? And on the back of this is a birch veneer. It looks like maple, but birch often does look a lot like maple. There's a hot melt adhesive on the back, and you could use a heat gun or you could probably use a blow dryer. And okay, make sure that's in the shot. But you can also just use an iron. If you have an old iron, I don't know if I'd use. You might not want to use a good iron, but you probably could get away with it because the side that we're applying the heat, it's just natural wood, so it's not going to hurt anything. But your significant other may disagree, and be careful. I crank this thing all the way, well, almost all the way. You want to set it for cotton, and that's just it's quite a strong hot melt adhesive. And I'm just going to burnish that. I'm going to use a dowel to burnish that in place. And kind of let that cool. You could use it if you have a J-roller or a broomstick, whatever. You could use a block of wood as long as the corners weren't too sharp. So if you ease the corners. And we're going to let that cool down a little bit just to get a really good bond. And then I've got some water. I heated up in the microwave because we have to get around that corner, and that corner is pretty sharp, if you can see it there. So I'm just going to soak this a bit with this warm water. It's almost hot, but just give that a chance to work in. And I have a feeling it's going to crack anyway, because that's a heck of a bend. And if it does, that's okay, because that's going to be underneath the fingerboard anyway, so it's not the end of the world. And of course, this is just one way to do it. I think putting the iron on there is going to help, actually. It'll help it steam. That steam will help make those wood fibers pliable. So let's kind of ease it around the corner there and maybe put some more water on it now. Let's see if we can get that to go. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's fine. Now I'm just going to wrap that around, and it's going to be difficult to get that in the camera shot. So I'm probably not even going to try because I'll probably have to edit it out anyway. So I'll come back. Now when we get to the end, at some point I'm going to have to get in there, and actually I'm going to use just some heavy-duty scissors that I have. They're more like shears. I'm not going to trim that yet, but that's how I'm going to trim the end of that and get it lined up. So I'm going to just pause it here because I'll have to edit it out anyway. Okay, so that worked pretty well. Got all the way around that corner there, and now we got to trim off the there's about 1/8 of an inch hanging over the bottom. So single edge razor blade, and just carefully work your way around. You might not want to get it all at once, because if you catch some grain, it may kind of run wild, so you could take 2 passes, no big deal. And I would use a brand new blade for this. Here I am getting it all in one. Didn't really want to do that. Come on, get up. Let's go. That's better. Nice. And then we'll come back and make it flush. Yes, sir. Feels good. And it helps to, instead of just pushing it through, if you could, pull the blade a bit as you do that, so it'll more of a slicing action, instead of just trying to hold it in one spot and push it through. Just give it a little slice. It's pretty good. Like that. Let's go. Yep. Okay, and then maybe I could flush this off. So I'm using 100 grit. You choose whatever you want. 80 grit might work a little too fast for this operation. I think 100 or 120 would be a good grit for this operation. If you go much finer than 120, it's going to take all day. But you don't want to go too fast either, because then you just kind of defeated your whole purpose. So what I'm going to do, let's see. I would be shocked if this fits now. I'm assuming it's going to be. Oh, maybe not. Oh my goodness. Okay, I thought I was going to have to sand that to fit. Okay. Well, I don't need to sand that at all. Well, interesting. I don't love the way it fits, but these are the compromises if you don't make, the body and the neck together. It's always going to be a little bit of fooling around, because I think part of what I'm fighting right now as well is the shape of the heel and the pocket are not, they're not the same either. And that's causing a little bit of an issue, because if I pull it back, okay, so I may try to reshape the heel a little bit, but boy, it can be tricky. So don't waste too much time on this. But I got a little scrap of this plywood I'm using as a block, and I'm just going to try to rework that. And we did improve it. So I think that's I don't love that. I'm gonna have a think, and I'll come back to you guys. All right. Well, Andrew, I don't know if you cut the veneer tape for us, or if so, you're the man. If you had one of your techs do it, give him a raise, because I ended up having exactly enough to go around twice. And it was a little bit too much, as I suspected, so I just used 100 grit paper on a block and just sanded it to fit, as you would do. That's fairly normal to have your, because it's a lot easier to sand the heel than it is to try to sand the inside of the pocket. So even when you manufacture your own, you typically make the heel just ever so slightly oversized, and a lot of the big manufacturers do that as well. That's pretty standard practice, because wood isn't the most stable material in the world. It does fluctuate, and so you make your heel slightly, ever so slightly larger than the pocket, and then you sand it to fit. And so that's pretty good. Now, it's not an invisible fix, but it's not glaringly obvious, especially when it's all finished. It won't be terribly obvious, and most importantly, we can now do that. So that's what you want. You want a nice tight fit. Remember, this is very slightly trapezoidal, so that you need to push the neck in from above. And yeah, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. I think that was a success. So good luck to you, and don't forget, you don't have to do it, but you would want to center the neck in the pocket. And then the only other thing I have a minor concern about, I could check it, probably will check it before class goes live, would be to put the bridge on and just make sure that we have enough room to intonate the strings. So we need to have enough room to move the saddles back and forth. And since we did wrap that all the way around, so it's possible that neck it's going to be slightly forward of where it should be ideal. But there's quite a bit of adjustment in those saddles, so I think it'll work. But actually, I'm going to check that right now, and I'll let you know if there's any issues. And yeah, good luck. All right, final update, I think. So for the high E string, you're going to learn more about this later, but we need that string to break at 25.5 inches. So on the high E, that's the skinniest string. And to get there, I had to, just a saddle adjustment was not adequate. I ended up having to remove both layers of wood tape off of the back of the heel. So we still have 2 layers, just that little bit on the side there, and I still have the full 2 layers just into the corner. There's a little bit of a transition there, but I had to remove both layers off of the heel, and then make sure that the that the heel of the neck is seated all the way down in the pocket. And apologize for that audio, it probably didn't sound real good. But I'm pretty confident that's going to work now. But yeah, don't think it's safe to say you won't be able to put any of that wood tape on the back of the heel, because you're going to need the neck back down as far as it'll go. So if you can, well, you can wrap it. You could apply it like I did if you think that works easiest for you. You could wrap it around, but then you're going to have to cut it and remove it, and or sand clear through both layers. So I think I would just try to apply to both sides of the heel and leave the bottom of the heel alone. All right, good luck.